Dr. Amanda Hayes pressed her palm against the quantum scanner, watching as holographic numbers cascaded down its surface. The last human city station, New Singapore, groaned around her like a dying beast. Through the reinforced windows of her laboratory, she could see the distant flashes of Vraxian warships emerging from hyperspace, their crystalline hulls refracting starlight into deadly rainbows. Security breach in sectors 7 through 12. The station's AI announced, its voice eerily calm. Evacuation protocols initiated. Amanda's fingers flew across the holographic interface, initiating Project Prometheus's deletion sequence. 20 years of research, humanity's last hope, reduced to disappearing strings of code. She couldn't let the Vraxians get their hands on it, not when they'd finally proven the theory worked. The laboratory door hissed open behind her. Dr. Hayes, Lieutenant Sarah Rodriguez, stepped in, plasma rifle at the ready. The defense grid just failed. We have less than 10 minutes. Almost done, Amanda said, watching as the last fragments of data dissolved. She reached for the quantum core, a crystalline cylinder small enough to fit in her palm. Within its lattice structure lay the key to humanity's survival, proof that human consciousness could directly manipulate quantum probability. The station shuddered violently, throwing both women against the wall. Through the window, Amanda watched in horror as a Vraxian boarding pod punctured the hull of Residential Block C, its drill-like appendages tearing through reinforced steel as if it were paper. Move. Rodriguez grabbed Amanda's arm, pulling her toward the emergency exit. The death squads will head here first. They ran through corridors bathed in pulsing red emergency lights, passing scenes of organized chaos as the station's remaining population rushed toward the escape pods. Amanda clutched the quantum core to her chest, its surface warm against her skin. Each intersection brought the sounds of combat closer, the distinctive whine of Vraxian energy weapons mixing with the deeper thunder of human railguns. Why haven't they just destroyed the station? Amanda asked as they descended an emergency ladder into the maintenance tunnels. The answer hit her before Rodriguez could respond. They want me alive. Rodriguez nodded grimly. High Command intercepted their communications. The Vraxians know about Project Prometheus. They think if they capture you, they can replicate it. The maintenance tunnel opened into New Singapore's undercity, a maze of neon-lit markets and jury-rigged habitation modules now abandoned in the evacuation. Their footsteps echoed off metal gratings as they ran past shuttered storefronts, advertising everything from synthetic noodles to black market starship parts. A high-pitched whine filled the air, making Amanda's teeth vibrate. EMP. Rodriguez shoved her behind a market stall seconds before the pulse hit. Every light in the undercity went dark, plunging them into absolute darkness broken only by emergency chemical lights casting green shadows. The quantum chamber, Amanda whispered, an idea forming. If we can reach it, I can use the core toe. The air rippled as a Vraxian phasing field materialized at the end of the street. 3 Death Squad soldiers stepped through, their biomechanical armor making them look like insects crafted from polished obsidian. Their sensor arrays swept the darkness, searching. Rodriguez raised her rifle. Go. I'll hold them off. Sarah. No. The core is all that matters now. Rodriguez's eyes never left the advancing Vraxians. If they catch you, everything we've lost was for nothing. Amanda ran, tears streaming down her face as plasma fire lit up the darkness behind her. She forced herself not to look back when she heard Rodriguez's final act of defiance, the distinctive sound of a plasma rifle's power core overloading. The quantum chamber lay ahead, its reinforced doors still sealed. Amanda's hands shook as she pressed her palm against the biometric scanner. Inside, the massive chamber hummed with potential, its walls lined with probability matrices that made reality itself uncertain within its confines. She reached the central platform just as the chamber's doors exploded inward. Vraxian Death Squad soldiers poured through the breach, their weapons trained on her. Amanda held up the quantum core, watching it pulse in sync with the chamber's matrices. "You want to know the price of a human life?" she asked, her voice steady despite her fear. "Let me show you." She crushed the core in her hand, and probability itself shattered. The crystal sphere of Arcturus hung in space like a frozen soap bubble, its transparent walls refracting the light of 3 suns. Inside the massive structure, Dr. Amanda Hayes stood on a circular platform, surrounded by a containment field that made her skin tingle. Below her, amphitheater-style seating held the galaxy's most powerful and dangerous beings. "Lot 793, announced the Vraxian auctioneer, his metallic voice echoing through the sphere. "The last known human specimen, captured during the fall of New Singapore. Bidding begins at 10 million credits." Amanda fought to keep her expression neutral as alien faces turned toward her. The Kylith delegation's serpentine bodies coiled in their anti-gravity pods, their compound eyes reflecting the sphere's light like fractured diamonds. The Mecranid's cybernetic arrays whirred and clicked as they analyzed her, probably calculating the exact value of her genetic material. But it was the quantum shepherds that drew her attention. They sat in the highest tier, their forms barely visible through the light-bending cloaks they wore. Unlike the others, they weren't watching her. They were watching the Vraxians. 15 million, called out a Xylith noble, his scales shifting color to indicate wealth and status. 20 million, countered a Mecranid consortium leader, her voice a symphony of mechanical tones. The memory of crushing the quantum core still burned in Amanda's mind. The explosion had torn reality apart within the chamber, but instead of death, she'd experienced something else. Now, when she closed her eyes, she could see probability strings dancing at the edges of her vision, like ghostly spider webs connecting everything. 50 million. A new voice cut through the bidding. A hooded figure had appeared in the central speaking platform. The whole sphere fell silent. No one had seen them enter. The Vraxian auctioneer's exoskeleton bristled. The chair recognizes the representative of the Nomad Collective. Amanda's heart raced. The Nomads were myths, stories told in the darkest corners of space stations about a group that helped people disappear. Some said they were the ghosts of extinct species. Others claimed they were time travelers. The Vraxians denied they existed at all. "This auction is a farce." The Nomad representative's voice carried authority that silenced even the whispers. "You haven't told them what she really is." The containment field around Amanda flickered. She felt a subtle shift in the air, like reality holding its breath. The Vraxian High Commander rose from his observation pod, his biomechanical armor casting twisted shadows. "Remove this individual." The human race was not inefficient. The Nomad continued as security drones converge. They were not primitive. They were the first. The figure raised their hands, and the drones stopped midair. The first species to touch the quantum fabric of reality with their minds. Chaos erupted in the sphere. The Xylith began evacuating their pods while the Mecranids activated combat protocols. The quantum shepherds simply vanished, leaving behind empty seats that sparked with residual energy. Amanda watched in amazement as probability strings became visible to everyone, filling the sphere with a web of shimmering possibilities. She understood now. The Nomad was showing them what she could see. The Vraxians didn't hunt humans to extinction because they were weak. The Nomad's hood fell back, revealing a face that seemed to shift between species. They did it because they discovered what humans could become. The containment field collapsed. Amanda felt power surge through her, the same sensation she'd experienced in the quantum chamber. Reality bent around her like light through a prism. "The auction is terminated." The High Commander's voice cracked with fear. "Secure the asset." But Amanda was already moving. The Nomad had shown her how, each step taking her through probability strings that pulled her toward freedom. Security forces fired energy weapons that hit empty air as she shifted between possible locations. She reached the Nomad's platform just as the sphere's emergency protocols engaged. Their eyes met, and Amanda saw her own power reflected back at her. ready to learn what you really are?" The nomad asked, offering their hand as reality began to fold around them. Behind them, the crystal sphere of Arcturus erupted into quantum chaos, marking the beginning of a war that would reshape the galaxy. Amanda took the nomad's hand, and together they stepped sideways through possibility itself. The quantum strings danced around Dr. Amanda Hayes like luminous threads as she paced her cell aboard the nomad vessel. Each step left ripples in reality, possibilities branching and collapsing with every movement. She'd spent 3 days trying to escape, only to discover that each attempt had been carefully orchestrated by her captors. "Your problem," the shape-shifting nomad she'd come to know as Echo said, passing through the quantum-sealed wall as if it were mist, "is that you're still thinking in linear paths." Amanda watched the wall ripple where Echo had passed through. "And you're not actually a nomad, are you?" Echo's form shifted, cycling through different species before settling on something close to human. "We needed a story that the galaxy would believe, something to explain why we could move between the cracks of reality." "We?" Amanda's fingers traced probability strings in the air, watching them twist and spiral. "You mean the other humans who survived?" The cell's walls dissolved, revealing a vast chamber filled with holographic displays. Each screen showed different moments from human history, but not the history Amanda knew. She saw humans wielding impossible powers, ancient civilizations that had mastered quantum manipulation, and wars fought with probability itself as a weapon. "The Vraxians found these records," Echo explained, gesturing at the displays. "They discovered that human consciousness naturally interfaces with quantum reality. Every human choice, every decision, creates ripples in the fabric of space-time." Amanda watched a recording of children playing, probability strings swirling around them like loyal pets. "But that's impossible. We would have known. Would we?" Echo touched one of the strings, sending cascading changes through the chamber. "Humanity's greatest strength was always our ability to imagine possibilities. What you called dreams, hopes, wishes, they were all quantum manipulation. Every time a human said, 'What if?' they were literally creating new reality branches." The displays shifted to show the Vraxian extinction campaign. But now Amanda saw it differently. The human ships weren't just being destroyed. They were being erased from probability itself. "Your Project Prometheus," Echo continued, "was rediscovering what we'd lost. The Vraxians didn't just kill humans. They systematically removed every trace of our true nature from history. They rewrote reality to make us forget what we could do." Amanda felt anger surge through her. The probability strings around her turned crimson, responding to her emotion. "Why are you showing me this now?" "Because you're ready." Echo gestured, and a new hologram appeared, a DNA strand that sparkled with quantum energy. "When you crushed the core in the chamber, you didn't just escape. You woke up. Every human has this potential, but the Vraxians engineered a quantum field around Earth that suppressed it. You're the first to break through in 10 generations." The chamber filled with equations that Amanda recognized from her research. But now they weren't just mathematics. They were instructions, a user manual for reality itself. "Watch," Echo said, creating a small quantum singularity between their palms. "Reality isn't fixed. It's a consensus. The Vraxians maintain their power by convincing everyone that their version of reality is the only option." Amanda reached out, touching the singularity. Information flooded her mind. The true history of humanity, the physics of probability manipulation, the nature of consciousness itself. She saw how quantum strings connected all things, how human minds could surf the waves of possibility. "My God," she whispered as understanding dawned. Project Prometheus wasn't just about quantum computing. We were building a key to unlock human consciousness. And now, you know why they fear us. Echo smiled as Amanda began to experiment, pulling and twisting probability strings with growing confidence. One human, truly awake, can reshape reality. Imagine what all of us could do together. The quantum strings around Amanda pulsed with power as she stood, her eyes glowing with newfound understanding. "Then let's wake everyone up." Behind her, reality rippled like water, responding to the will of a human who finally understood her true nature. The quantum strings shifted color as the nomad vessel dropped out of probability space, materializing inside a massive asteroid. Amanda watched through the view screen as crystalline structures illuminated the cavern, their surfaces refracting impossible colors that her mind struggled to process. "Welcome to Haven," Echo said, leading her through corridors where reality seemed to flex and breathe. The last free human colony. Amanda's steps faltered as they passed other humans in the halls. Each one trailed probability strings like luminous contrails, their movements leaving ripples in the quantum fabric of space. Children ran past, laughing as they literally jumped between possibilities, their games transcending normal physics. "How many survived?" she asked, watching a young girl phase through a wall, as if it were made of smoke. 12,317, a familiar voice answered from behind them. Amanda turned, her heart stopping as she recognized the speaker. Michael. Her brother looked exactly as she remembered, though his eyes now held the same quantum awareness she'd seen in Echo. "They told me you died in the fall of Mars colony. In most probability branches, I did." Michael Hayes stepped forward, quantum strings weaving between them like a cat's cradle. "But some of you learned to skip between realities just before the Vraxians' weapon hit. We found others, built this place." The reunion was interrupted by alarms that sang in quantum harmonics. The crystalline walls pulsed with warning lights as a holographic display materialized in the center of the corridor. "Vraxian probability hunters," Michael explained, his expression grim. "They're getting better at tracking quantum wakes." Echo. "Get everyone to the deep chambers." Amanda watched as Haven's inhabitants moved with practiced efficiency, families disappearing into quantum-shifted spaces that existed between normal reality. "You've done this before." "Too many times." Michael led her to a command center where dozens of probability monitors showed different versions of reality, spreading out like tree branches. "The Vraxians have developed technology to counter our natural abilities. They can't replicate what we do, but they can track it, disrupt it. Then why haven't they found this place?" Amanda studied the monitors, her scientist's mind processing the quantum mathematics underlying the displays. Echo's form shifted as they joined them at the controls. "Because of what your brother built. Show her." Michael waved his hand, and the chamber's walls became transparent, revealing the true nature of Haven. The asteroid wasn't just a hiding place. It was a quantum computer of unprecedented scale. Crystalline matrices extended in all directions, each one manipulating probability itself. Project Prometheus wasn't the first attempt to unlock human potential, Michael said as he adjusted quantum fields. It was the last piece we needed. The core you destroyed. Its quantum signature helped us find you. Amanda watched the probability hunters' ships through the monitors, their reality-twisting weapons searching for Haven's quantum signature. You're not just hiding from them. You're building something. An army. Echo's form stabilized into its preferred near-human shape, but not like any army that's ever existed. We're teaching the children to do instinctively what you and Michael learned through science. Each generation is stronger, more connected to quantum reality. The chamber shuddered as a probability hunter passed nearby. Through the quantum strings, Amanda saw how Haven shifted between possibilities, never quite existing in any single reality. The Vraxians think they won, Michael said, his fingers dancing through probability strings like a puppet master. They think they destroyed humanity because they can't see what we've become. Every human child born here is a reality shaper, connected to the quantum web from birth. Amanda looked at the children being ushered to safety, seeing them with new eyes. They weren't refugees. They were evolution in action. "How long have you been planning this?" "Since the first attack." Echo placed a hand on her shoulder. "But we needed you. Your research, combined with what we've built here, It's the key to waking up every surviving human in the galaxy. The quantum strings around them pulsed with potential as the last probability hunter passed Haven without detecting it. Amanda felt the power humming through the asteroid's crystalline matrices, waiting to be unleashed. "When do we start?" she asked, already knowing the answer. Michael smiled, and for a moment, she saw the brother she remembered. "We already have." Again, Echo commanded as probability strings shimmered around them in Haven's training chamber. "Focus on the point between possibilities." Dr. Amanda Hayes closed her eyes, feeling quantum reality pulse against her consciousness. A sphere of pure energy floated before her, its surface rippling with potential futures. Each one showed a different outcome: victory, defeat, survival, extinction. "You're still thinking like a scientist," Michael observed from the chamber's edge. "Stop calculating. Feel it." Amanda took a deep breath, remembering the moment she'd crushed the quantum core. The sphere responded, its surface crystallizing into fractals of pure possibility. Around her, reality bent like light through a prism, creating overlapping versions of herself. Better. Echo's form shifted through several states at once, demonstrating the technique. "Now choose." Amanda reached out, not with her hand but with her mind. The quantum strings responded, weaving together into a pattern that defied conventional physics. The sphere shattered, each fragment becoming a window into a different reality. "That's it." Michael stepped forward, his own quantum field merging with hers. "Now hold them all at once." Sweat beaded on Amanda's forehead as she maintained multiple reality states simultaneously. Through each fragment, she could see different versions of Haven, different outcomes of the coming conflict. In one, the Vraxians discovered them. In another, the Resistance succeeded. In a third, the chamber's emergency lights flashed red. Reality snapped back to a single state as Haven's quantum alarms screamed through the crystalline walls. "Proximity alert," a voice echoed through quantum harmonics. "Vraxian battle fleet detected in the Sigma Quadrant. They're testing a new weapon." The training chamber transformed into a tactical display. Amanda watched in horror as a massive Vraxian vessel charged what looked like a reality cannon, a weapon designed to collapse quantum possibilities into a single, unchangeable state. "They're targeting the Pleiades colony." Michael's voice was tight with concern. 5,000 humans, all still dormant. Echo's form stabilized. "We're not ready. The children haven't fully developed there. We have no choice." Amanda stepped forward, quantum strings swirling around her like a storm. "Show me the colony's coordinates." The tactical display zoomed in on a seemingly empty sector of space, but through quantum sight, Amanda could see the hidden colony, its inhabitants unaware of their awakened potential. "You can't interface with that many minds at once," Michael warned. "The quantum feedback could kill you." Amanda smiled, remembering Rodriguez's sacrifice at New Singapore. The price of one human life, remember. She reached out, connecting to Haven's crystalline matrices. "Besides, I won't be doing it alone." The children of Haven appeared at the chamber's edges, their quantum fields already synchronizing with hers. They moved without being told, forming a circle around her. Each child was a lens, focusing and amplifying her power. "The Vraxians think they can control reality." Amanda's voice echoed through quantum space as she connected with the matrices. "Let's show them why they're wrong." Energy surged through her as she opened herself to quantum possibility. Through the children's eyes, she could see every probability string, every potential future. The Vraxian weapon began to fire, its reality-collapsing beam reaching across space. Amanda chose. Quantum strings exploded outward from Haven, carrying her consciousness with them. She touched each mind in the Pleiades colony, awakening them to their true nature. 5,000 humans opened their eyes to quantum reality simultaneously. The Vraxian weapon fired. But instead of collapsing reality, it met a wall of human consciousness. The colonists, newly awakened and guided by Amanda, reached out with instincts buried in their genetic memory. Reality didn't collapse. It multiplied. Through the tactical display, they watched as the Vraxian fleet found itself trapped between probability shells, each ship existing in multiple states at once. Their weapon, designed to enforce a single reality, instead shattered against the infinite possibilities of human potential. Amanda collapsed, caught by Michael and Echo. But she was smiling. Through the quantum web, she could feel the awakened colonists, their minds blazing with newfound power. "Send the signal," she whispered as quantum reality stabilized around them. "Tell everyone. It's time to wake up." The children of Haven raised their hands in unison, and probability itself carried their message across the stars. News of the Pleiades incident spread through the galaxy like wildfire. Dr. Amanda Hayes watched from Haven's command center as reality itself seemed to shudder with change. The quantum strings had turned storm gray, reflecting the chaos erupting across civilized space. 7 more colonies have awakened, Michael reported, his hands dancing through holographic displays. The quantum web is growing stronger. Every awakened human adds their consciousness to the network. Echo's form rippled with excitement. The Xylith hegemony has withdrawn support from the Vraxian Empire. The Macranids are following suit. Amanda studied the strategic display, where probability clouds showed countless possible futures unfolding simultaneously. The Vraxians' perfectly ordered galaxy was dissolving into beautiful chaos. "They're mobilizing their main fleet," she noted, watching quantum disturbances near the Empire's core worlds. "Preparing for a final strike." The command center's crystalline walls hummed with energy as more reports flooded in. Across the galaxy, oppressed species were rising up, inspired by the revelation of the Vraxians' true nature. Their fear of human potential had exposed their greatest weakness: the need to control everything. Multiple quantum breaches detected. A young monitor called out, her eyes glowing with probability sight. "They're using the reality cannons in populated systems." Amanda felt the disturbance through the quantum web, millions of minds crying out as the Vraxians tried to lock down reality itself. But something was different this time. "Look," she pointed to the quantum strings, which had started to pulse with golden light. "They're not just fighting the humans." The strategic display zoomed in on a contested system. The Vraxian reality cannons fired, attempting to collapse probability into a single timeline. But the native species, inspired by human resistance, had begun to access their own quantum potential. "It's starting." Echo's voice held wonder. Just as the ancient records predicted, humans weren't just the first to touch quantum reality. "We're the key to awakening everyone else," Michael finished. "Our chaos, our creativity. It's contagious." Amanda connected to the quantum web, feeling the surge of consciousness as more species began to break free from Vraxian control. The probability strings around her formed complex patterns she'd never seen before. "They're targeting Haven," a defense officer reported. "Multiple reality cannon signatures approaching." But Amanda was already moving, the children of Haven falling into formation around her. This time, they were ready. This time, they had a plan. "Link to all awakened colonies," she commanded, her voice carrying through quantum space. "Show them what we learned at Pleiades." The children raised their hands in unison, their quantum fields merging into a single consciousness. Through their combined power, Amanda reached out to every awakened human in the galaxy. But she didn't stop there. She touched every mind that yearned for freedom, every species that had tasted the possibility of change. The Vraxian fleet arrived in force, reality cannons charging. But they found something unexpected: a galaxy that no longer believed in their version of order. "Now," Amanda whispered, and human consciousness surged through the quantum web. Reality didn't just resist the cannons. It transformed them. The Vraxian weapons, designed to enforce a single timeline, instead became conduits for infinite possibility. Their own technology, twisted by the power they had sought to destroy, became the tool of their undoing. "Send the message to all systems," Michael called out as the Vraxian fleet fractured across multiple reality states. The time of single truth is over. The age of infinite possibility has begun. Amanda stood at the heart of the quantum storm, watching as the galaxy awakened to its true potential. The price of one human life had been high, but the return, a universe set free from the chains of certainty, was worth every cost. Through the quantum strings, she could feel the future unfolding in countless directions, each one brighter than the last. The revolution wasn't just about human survival anymore. It had become something greater, a revolution of reality itself. The hidden colonies rose from the quantum shadows like ghost ships breaking through a cosmic storm. Dr. Amanda Hayes watched from Haven's observation deck as humanity's true fleet revealed itself. Each vessel pulsed with crystalline energy, their hulls shifting between states of matter as reality bent around them. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Michael stood beside her, his eyes reflecting the quantum light show. 20 years of preparation, all for this moment. The ships were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Built within probability spaces, powered by crystallized human consciousness, they existed in multiple states simultaneously. Where Vraxian ships moved through space, these vessels moved through possibility itself. "The Meridian fleet has breached containment." Echo's voice echoed through the quantum web. "The Vraxian home system is in chaos." Amanda connected to the fleet's network, feeling the minds of thousands of awakened humans working in perfect harmony. Through their combined consciousness, she could see the entire battle unfolding across multiple reality states. "They're bringing in their last resort." Michael's voice turned grim as new data flowed through the quantum strings. The reality core. The strategic display shifted, showing a massive structure at the heart of Vraxian space. It pulsed with anti-quantum energy, a machine designed to lock the entire galaxy into a single, unchangeable timeline. "If they activate that," Amanda started, "everything we've built dies." Echo finished, their form fluctuating with concern. All possibility, all potential, gone in an instant. But Amanda was smiling. She reached out through the quantum web, touching the minds of every child in Haven. "Remember what you taught me about thinking linear?" she asked Echo. "Time to show them what humans can really do." The children responded instantly, their quantum fields merging with the fleet's network. Through their eyes, Amanda could see not just multiple realities, but multiple times, past, present, and future existing simultaneously. "All ships," she commanded, her voice carrying through probability itself. "Execute Protocol Prometheus." The human fleet began to move, but not through space. Instead, they moved through possibility, each ship choosing a different quantum state. To the Vraxians, it must have looked like their enemies were multiplying, existing in hundreds of places at once. "They're powering up the core." Michael's hands flew over the controls, tracking the energy buildup. Amanda reached deeper into the quantum web, past the battle, past the fear and chaos. She found what she was looking for, a simple truth hidden in the fabric of reality itself. "The core," she said, understanding flooding through her. "It's not just a weapon, it's their connection to quantum space, the source of their power." Through the fleet's sensors, she could see it clearly now. The Vraxians hadn't just built a machine to control reality. They'd built a bridge between normal space and quantum space. And like any bridge, it works both ways, Echo realized, their form solidifying with excitement. Amanda connected to every ship in the fleet, every awakened human, every allied species that had joined their cause. Through the quantum web, she shared her understanding, her plan spreading like lightning through consciousness itself. The Vraxian core began to pulse, reality-crushing energy building to its peak. But as it did, every human ship moved in perfect synchronization. They weren't fighting the weapon, they were becoming it. Now, Amanda called, and the fleet released its power. Quantum energy met anti-quantum force, not in opposition, but in harmony. The core, designed to crush possibility, instead became a lens for it. Through this connection, every suppressed species in the galaxy felt the touch of quantum space. The Vraxian Empire watched in horror as their greatest weapon became a gateway for the very chaos they had sought to contain. Reality itself shuddered as countless minds awakened to their true potential. Amanda stood at the heart of the quantum storm, feeling the galaxy transform around her. "Time to show them," she said, "what infinity really means." Light bloomed across the galaxy as the reality core transformed, its energy rippling through quantum space like waves through a cosmic ocean. Dr. Amanda Hayes stood before the Vraxian High Council, probability strings dancing around her like aurora borealis. The council chamber existed in multiple states, shifting between realities as the old order crumbled. "You could have asked," she said softly, watching the Vraxian leaders struggle with their new reality. "We would have shared this gift." The High Commander's biomechanical armor could no longer maintain its rigid form, flickering between states as quantum energy saturated everything. "You've doomed us all to chaos," he accused, his voice distorting across multiple possibilities. Michael stepped forward, the quantum strings around him forming complex patterns. "Look around you. What do you see? Not chaos. Evolution." Through the chamber's transparent walls, they could see the galaxy transforming. Species after species awakening to their quantum potential, each in their own unique way. The Kylith wove probability like silk, creating art from possibility itself. The Mecranids had transcended their binary nature, existing in quantum superposition. "Your empire was built on a lie," Echo added, their form now stable, in a way that suggested complete mastery of their nature. "That reality must be controlled, that change must be feared." Amanda reached out through the quantum web, feeling the joy of countless minds discovering their true potential. The children of Haven were teaching others, sharing the games that had helped them understand their powers. Species that had been enemies for millennia were learning to see through each other's eyes, to experience reality from multiple perspectives simultaneously. "The price of one human life," she said, creating a small quantum singularity in her palm. Within it, she could see New Singapore's last stand, Rodriguez's sacrifice, the fall of Earth, all the moments that had led here. Was it worth it? All this death, all this destruction. The High Commander stared at the singularity, his ancient eyes finally showing understanding. "We saw your potential in the ancient records. We saw what humanity could become. We were afraid." "Fear is natural," Michael said, his voice gentle. "But look what you nearly destroyed in your fear." Amanda expanded the singularity, showing them the future now unfolding. Cities built in quantum space, where architecture obeyed the laws of dreams rather than physics. Children of all species playing with probability like musical instruments, creating symphonies of reality. The boundaries between possible and impossible dissolving as consciousness itself evolved. "Your choice now," Echo addressed the council, "is not between order and chaos. It's between stagnation and growth, between fear and wonder." The quantum strings around them pulsed with potential as the council members looked at each other. One by one, they began to reach out, touching the quantum field with their own consciousness. Their rigid forms softened, became fluid with possibility. "We choose wonder," the High Commander said finally, his voice resonating across multiple realities. Amanda smiled, feeling the last pieces of the old order fall away. Through the quantum web, she shared this moment with everyone. The hidden colonies, the awakened species, the children who had helped make it possible. Reality itself seemed to sigh with relief as the galaxy embraced its new nature. "What now?" Michael asked, looking out at the transformed cosmos. "Now." Amanda watched as quantum strings wove new patterns through space, connecting all conscious beings in a dance of infinite possibility. Now we explore. Now we create. Now we become what we were always meant to be. The chamber filled with light, as the last barriers between realities dissolved. The price of one human life had been high, but the reward was beyond measure. A galaxy awakened to its true potential, a future unlimited by the boundaries of what was possible. And in the quantum web that now connected all things, the children of every species began to play, their laughter echoing through probability itself, creating new realities with every moment of joy.